Okay, good morning. Thank you for joining us for yoga this morning. This will be a chair-based class so that we can have the most accessibility for people who need this adaptation. This class, we also, upon recording it, then I get to process it and send it to the Oregon Women's Prison, where we have our yoga TV station, which is as a result of COVID-19 and all the restrictions for volunteers and visitors, we're providing the yoga class there by these videos that we send. The only video that they're capturing is me. They're not seeing you. And so the practice will include the chair, the mats, the blocks. I'm going to use a strap today, and the women at the prison know that when they are using a strap, what they're really using is like their bath towel or their sweatshirt. They're not allowed to have yoga straps. They also can't have yoga blankets, but they do have blocks and mats. Now they're in every housing unit because when we closed our yoga studio, we moved the yoga mats and the blocks to the women's prison. So they would have enough yoga props for each of the units that are there. So that's our game plan today, is to use these sorts of props. And my other interest is in helping you to have a cleansing practice for the season of the kappa dosha. This is a time of year where we want to focus on cleansing so that there's a revitalization of our health, like we see in nature right now, where the quince is blooming and the peonies are coming up so strongly, getting ready for their bloom. The Daphne Adora has already bloomed and offered her fragrance. So we want our vitality to be available like that as well. So let's start with a period of sitting quietly. You can rest your hands in your lap and close your eyes. And start allowing your breath to go more deeply into your pelvis, lower down in your torso. And appreciate yourself for making the really good decision, having the life skill to decide, I'm going to have a yoga practice this morning. So you're having both the benefit of a yoga practice, and you're not now having the deficit of not having a yoga practice or occupying this time with something that might produce a residue in your body, stress or computers, urgency, haste, food or sedentary things that you might do. So you have the absence of that and you have the commitment of this. So I like to say it's like a double dose of goodness. The absence of that which would burden your system, and the commitment to that which will help revitalize your system. So you welcome the breath to drop down. Now begin to lengthen the inhale and the exhale. So there's a sense of the in-breath rising up in the torso, and also a sense of your out-breath rising up through your torso. So both inhale and exhale begin in the pelvis. And you have a sense that you have arrived and that your breath is welcomed by your body. Then join your hands together at your heart. And we'll chant together Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, May this practice protect and nourish and strengthen. May this practice move us from darkness to light. And may this practice help prevent impatience or intolerance in us. Let's begin. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunakto Savidyang Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidveshavahai Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunakto Savidyang Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidveshavai Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunakto Savidyang Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Om Shanti Shanti Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha Hari Om. With appreciation for your efforts to come to your practice this morning, please bow your head to your heart. Release your hands, open your eyes, and we're going to do some simple things to begin. I'd like you just to make some wrist circles like this. And you'd probably go in one direction, like what feels more natural for you, and then change it, what feels less natural. And reverse. Go back and forth between the two. And then see if you can do one hand in one circle and the other hand in the other circle. And can you reverse that? You'll notice that you have a dominant hand, and that might be the one that's easier to do this with. Okay, and then down and up, down, up, down. So the knuckles go down, up, spread your fingers, down and up. Now loosen both arms and just shake the hands. And that actually can be kind of difficult if maybe we hold tension in the shoulders or the arms, the hands or fingers. So see if you can really let the arms be loosey-goosey. So your hands and fingers and thumbs are getting more full right now as the blood supply is going down into your hands. And we're going to do this 3 strong shakes like this. 1, 2, 3. And then get really quiet and listen, sense, feel inside the movement going down your arms into your hands and fingers. Now take the arms up overhead, and when they're up, I'm going to ask you to squeeze and spread. And squeeze and spread. Squeeze is actually a lymph technique for people who have lymphedema. So what you know about that is that this is a cleansing process. And in the springtime, we are trying to get the lymph system to be more vital. So in the squeeze and stretch, you're asking for something from your circulation and from your lymph system. You're moving energy and fluids through the body. A couple times more. Okay, now next time that you make two fists, imagine that you're holding a giant rubber band and you're going to pull those rubber band strands out. Keep pulling, pull up about to shoulder height, and then curl down, flare and open. Curl down and in, flare and open. Curl down, flare, curl, and flare. And then let the arms come down. And once again, let the mind get really quiet so you're noticing what is happening. How is your body doing the cleansing, housekeeping chores of your forearms, hands, fingers, and thumbs. And now reach for your yoga strap using the strap part, or reach for your bath towel, your bathrobe sash, a necktie, or if you're one of our students who lives in prison, you can use your sweatshirt with the long sleeves. So take this up. Right, so when you're holding this, right now we're just going to keep the hands firm where they are. Bend your elbows and squeeze down behind your head. Let's use the inhale to go up. So inhale, reach up and look up. Exhale, squeeze down, pull the elbows wide. Inhale, go up and look up. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, reach up. So lots of us carry tension in between the shoulder blades and at the upper part of the shoulder blades where they meet the neck. And so right now when you're doing that squeeze on the way down, you can think of like squeezing a sponge. You want to squeeze out the tension. Inhale to go up. Refresh your brain and your body. Exhale, squeeze as you come down. We'll do it twice more. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, squeeze down. Last one, inhale, rising up. Now, slide your hands out on the strap and come down so it's loose. And let the arms again dangle. Place some attention in your heart as the center of that recirculation. See if you can sense the pattern. It's very subtle, but it is palpable. That you could imagine from your heart down, circulation flowing, the blood supply going back towards your hands. Okay, now we're going to take the same strap and we'll start in the same position, but we're going to be sliding the arms and hands wide. So when you hold here, start at shoulder width, reaching up. These moments of reaching up are asking for your body to change the circulation pathway related to gravity. And so there's a benefit just taking the arms overhead. If you need a break at your computer sometimes or at like a mental process that you're involved in, just doing this and inhaling to reach up is going to change the biochemistry and the neurology. Then you're going to slide the hands out and come down to about shoulder height with the strap going behind you. Now in this position, the amount of space you put between your hands is up to you, but don't strain your shoulders to be more flexible here. And as you reach back, stretch through your thumbs. So that's the inseam of the arm. So from your shoulders down to your thumbs. And then start to lower, loosen your hand on the strap and lower down all the way. Okay, good. And your hands might get warmer again. So you're giving that recirculation over and over. And by the way, when your heart is recirculating back to your hands, when you sense your hands getting warmer, you're also getting a reset in the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is more than your circulation and your lymph. Now I'm going to ask you to do something unusual with your chair and your strap. And that is, my hope is that your chair allows for this. Put it under the back of the chair and center it and bring it up behind you. So you've got this thing you can hold on to back here. And if it was a sweatshirt, we hope that the sweatshirt sleeves are long enough to support you here. And then reach back and hold the strap with both hands. You can bend the elbows. Try to squeeze your elbows in towards each other. Now, how far down the strap should you walk your hands? That's a common question. So let's check a few things. The pelvis should be stable, and that's going to include lower abdominals, mid abdominals, and upper abs. So your rib cage is also stable from the solar plexus down. I want you to be able to squeeze the elbows in. If you walk your hands down too far, your elbows are going to feel like they have to splay out. So squeeze the elbows in towards each other, and then pull up with your elbows and with your hands while keeping the elbows bent. So you're actually pulling up on the strap. We're not trying to walk down it to get to the top of the chair. Notice that pulling up on the strap might encourage a little bit more abdominal tone. So breathing in and out through the nose. Raise the elbows up a little higher than your hands, even though the hands are also pulling up. And then start to very slowly slide both hands together up the strap. And depending on the length of your strap and the length of your arms, you might be able to straighten them like I just did. So I'm 5 feet tall, 5'1". That means that my wingspan is about 5 feet. I don't have long arms, and I do have a 10-foot strap here. So mine did straighten, and I am pulling up on the strap while it's attached to the upper back of the chair. Now, when you loosen, let the strap just come down in one hand and let the arms float down side to side. You did a beautiful job with that. Relax both arms, and let's just bask in the warmth that's going to happen. Moving through the torso and your trunk, from your heart to your arms to your hands. Sahana bhavatu. Sahana bhunaktu. Saviryam karavavai. Now let's take the strap and set it aside. Reach back and hold the sides of the chair. We did this a couple weeks ago. We're going to repeat it. So when you're holding, your fingers point back, the thumbs are forward. Bend your elbows, squeeze the shoulders back, and give a good squeeze to the upper back. Inhale, lift your chest and your heart, open your throat. Exhale, bring your chin down, but keep the heart rising up. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale to go up. Exhale, chin down, and as you roll your chin down in towards your throat, squeeze the shoulders back. Inhale to go up. And one more time, exhale, squeeze down. Now, keeping a good hold on the chair, straighten your elbows and let the chest reach forward. Do not tip your chair over. Squeeze the shoulders back so you're holding onto the chair firmly. Lengthen through your spine and the crown of your skull, please. And then one more time, release and let the arms dangle. And I expect that you're going to have another round of like your body is warming your hands, your thumbs, your fingers. Okay, so my right foot is currently occupied, but I need it. So I'm going to ask you guys to pick up your right knee, clasp behind, and bring your knee up to your chest. And bring it up far enough that you actually are closing the front of the hip joint, and then make some ankle circles. So this, we're going to go in both directions for, just like we did before. Yeah. So some of you know I have a hip replacement after a motor vehicle accident, and some of you have your own hip replacements. And when you're in the hospital, they keep tucking the ends of the sheet into the bed again and again, as if you're going to get up and walk out, which I was not going to do. But they also want you to spell the alphabet with your feet. And so the sheet acts as this resistance to the alphabet making. I was always curious, why do they keep tucking those sheets in? It's like nurse protocol to tuck the sheet in at the base of the bed. A couple times more here. They also have a squeeze and point and squeeze and point. And what they're doing really isn't for the ankle to be ready for us to walk again. It's for circulation. Okay, now let your foot dangle and squeeze your knee up to your chest. If it causes you to lean back a little bit, that's okay. What we really want is for your thigh to be snug to your chest for a moment more here. And then, as you go to place your foot down, just before it touches the floor, notice that it's going to start getting a little bit warmer. That's the recirculation. Go ahead and place your foot on the floor. You won't notice the recirculation as much as the hands because your hands weren't weight-bearing, and your foot is now weight-bearing. Not a lot of weight, but it has some weight on it. Pick up the other, please. Sorry to disturb you, kitty. Of course, cats disturb us when we're sleeping, so I suppose it's innocent, kind of fair play going back. Circling, circling. Yeah, doing your best. Change both directions. One is going to feel maybe more awkward, and one foot might do this more easily than the other. That may be a neurological awareness that you start having in your body, that you've got one dexterous foot and one less dexterous foot. There's reasons for that, which we're not going to go into. I'm not your diagnostician. I do recommend you be curious about it, though. And so pull up, press down, up and down. You're pumping the foot there. Yeah. And then let your foot dangle and bring your knee up snugly to your chest. If you have to lean back a tiny bit, that's okay. You can place your foot down slowly. If you give it a little hover moment there, you get to sense, oh yeah, the circulation is going back. And then place your foot down, both feet down. Walk your feet out until your toes point up and the heels are pressing down. We'll do pointing, flexing. So this is the pumping action that you do with the feet. You can do hands and feet together if you want to. I'm just demonstrating my hands as the feet. And that pumping is asking for something of your body right now in the circulation and lymph department. A couple times more, please. And then pull up and back with the toes. Great. Now while we're here, we'll do one more thing. Please bend both knees and make your feet wider. Come over, press out with your hands against your inner thighs, against the inner knees, and lengthen from the upper inner groin out to your knees. So your torso can come forward and gaze down at your kitten or whatever's on the floor in front of you. Now press into your heels, and as you continue to press the knees out, turn your left hand to point in and twist your spine to your right. So keeping both elbows straight is going to keep your torso centered between your thighs and knees. So your twist then is not going to have any compromise from the elbows. Sometimes we bend the elbows or we distort the shoulders because it feels like we can't quite get the upper back to twist. And that is where I want you to be twisting right now. So the thymus is an organ, a gland in the chest, and it's associated with your immune system. When you next exhale, come back to center, shift your hand so the left hand can point back out, turn the right hand in, and twist to your left. As you press out and you keep the elbows straight, the twist is directed to the heart, the thymus, the lungs. You may also breathe into the back of your waist and try broadening where the kidneys and the adrenals sit behind your diaphragm. And then come around to face forward and rise up to sitting. And let's just pause to notice the influence of even 20 minutes of physical practice on your body. What's happening also with your mind. And then please rise up to standing. I'm going to put my strap aside. You can do the same if you'd like. And please turn your chair on your mat. The reason I have a crisscross mat is so I can show you easily in both directions. You can turn your chair to suit what you need. Let's take 2 blocks, please, and place them on the seat of the chair, like this. So the blocks here are going to be to elevate your hands. They are not stable enough to push on. We're going to have the palms pressing straight down against them. So what I'd like you to do is place your hands when you're ready to and step backwards to a kind of L position, the letter L, which in yoga we sometimes call this the chair dog pose. We have elevated your hands for this purpose this morning. Some of you are quite a bit taller than I am, and the chair, the standard chair height for yoga is, for me, it's shorter because I'm shorter. So for you, it might be too short. Therefore, we put the blocks under the hands. Now let's see to what extent you can stabilize your hands and your shoulders and your arms. And when you inhale, raise your heels up and then exhale and lower them down. So you're exercising your feet here. And I know a couple weeks ago that was a big joy for some of you, that your feet don't get that much exercise. And we do need to maintain agility in the feet and the ankles. So inhale to raise the heels. Exhale to lower your heels. Inhale, rising up, so that's your breath cycle and your pace. And exhale, rooting down. Also your breath cycle and your pace. Notice when you raise your heels, if they relatively stay like parallel, right? Or do you feel like your heels have to spin in or out? And can you keep the feet really straight on? Do that one more time, please. And then press down against the blocks and raise your torso up so your shoulders are higher than your hands. Let's keep the left heel grounded, step your right foot forward. And come into a calf stretch for your left calf muscle. You can bend the right knee only so far as your left heel stays grounded. And insofar as this is a calf stretch for your left calf, press your left heel down and press the left toes down. So your foot is still, it's active, it's energized. It's not a passive foot in the calf stretch. Okay, let's keep both feet now grounded, and while honoring that we've stretched the left calf muscle, now straighten your right leg and walk your hands out to the upper back of the chair. And feel into your right hamstring, maybe your outer hip or the outside of your leg altogether. Enjoy a deep breath in. This is a kind of stabilizing and balancing pose, so please don't be surprised if you need to sort of turn on your balance muscles. Okay, let's walk the right hand back to the block, left hand to the block, and then pressing onto the blocks for some stability, step your right foot back next to your left foot, reach both hips back to the L shape or the dog pose. And then keeping your right heel grounded, raise your shoulders up higher than your wrists are for stability, then step your left foot forward. Say hello to your right calf muscle. And as you start to bend your left knee, do keep your right heel grounded back there. So in this process, as you root your right heel, use the right foot muscles. Like even though you're pressing into your heel, press the toes down. And you might even be able to identify individual toes to press down, and you'll start feeling different sensations across your calf muscle. Now, while keeping your right foot grounded, you can straighten your left leg, energize your left foot on the floor, and walk your hands out over the upper back of the chair. For those of you for whom your arms are longer, go ahead and walk your forearms out over the upper back of the chair. And breathing in and out through the nose. And please bend your left knee, walk your hands back to the two blocks, press down against the blocks for stability, and step your feet up towards the chair. Rise up to standing in mountain pose. Let the arms dangle and bring your attention down to your calves and feet. And just ask, okay, what's happening there now? And then you can watch me for a few moments. I'm going to demonstrate something. So let's imagine now that you only have a couple of basic yoga props because of your living circumstance or because of your choice for austerity. And I'd like to see is the chair. This is going to require some abdominal strength and upper body strength because I also want us to use the floor and not the floor. Here I have 3 layers of yoga mat because I have 1 and then this is 2, 3. So there's 3 layers of mat there, but that may not be everybody's situation. And so if your floor is firm and your mat is thin, then what I would recommend is that you keep your chair on the mat there and fold your mat to have support for your knee. So that means that you've got some bare floor here, but I think you're going to be all right. Since I do have 3 layers of mat, what I'll do is open this back up for the demonstration. You'll be able to see my back foot in the contrast of my foot and the mat better than if you see it on the floor. The contrast is less. Okay, so what we're going to do is this. You can watch here, please. We have lymph intersections, right, in the chest and armpit that we have here, but we also have in the inner groin. So what we're going to do when we step back like this is called the basic lunge, when you have your hands on the chair and your knee is not starting touching the chair, because when you come down, your knee is going to come towards but not run into the chair. So I came down and I'm going to go up. We're going to do that several times. So that's going to take some upper body strength, mostly leg strength, but I do want your upper body to have the stability to support you here. Okay, so let's put the right foot forward and don't start with your knee about to run into your chair, please. Put the left foot back. Let's call this the basic lunge. Yeah, there you are. Okay, breathe in. And then exhale, lower your left knee down, partway or all the way. Inhale to straighten. Exhale, lower down. Think about squeezing the right upper inner groin. You're giving a little squeeze like a sponge to the lymph. And then inhale, reach through your left heel. Give a pumping action to your heel. And again, exhale, touch down. Inhale, lengthen, reach back through your heel. And twice more, exhale, lower down. Partway or all the way. Inhale to lengthen. And here's the last one. Inhale to lengthen. Now, strengthen your hands on the chair seat and step your right foot back. Make this into plank pose. Strong and steady pose for stamina, stability, integration. And then left foot forward. Okay, so we breathe in while we're in the basic lunge or when we're returning to it. And then exhale, right knee down, part way or all the way. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, you're squeezing the sponge of the lymph in the upper inner left groin. And then inhale, pump it back into your right heel. So you're sending circulation down the right leg. The left leg is having its own event, but actually the left leg is having less circulation running down it because you're temporarily restricting that as you have the hinge of the left hip quite closed. One more time, inhale to lengthen. Press into the chair with both hands and arms and step back to plank pose. Notice the circulation going from your hips down to your heels after the pose. And then this version of chair dog pose where you have your hands on the chair seat. And walk towards your chair, rise up, and come to mountain pose. And let's see, well, how are things feeling? Tejasvina Tamastu Mavivishavari. May our practice remove the darkness, the tamas, and bring the light, the tejas. May we not succumb to impatience or intolerance. Okay, now while you're standing facing sideways to your chair, let's turn like a tiny angle so that this is going to be your left foot now. I'm going to mirror you. Okay, so your left foot is going to be on this slight angle. The right foot's going to go on the chair seat. I would like you to have your blocks available, so put them up here, please. And then step your right foot up like this. So the hips are going to be level. And what you'll notice, and this is, like I was saying, many of you are taller than I am. Some of you are not, but here we are. My knee is higher than my hips right now because of my height. So when I put my foot up on the chair seat, the knee is higher for me. It may not be higher for you. We do want there to be this sort of inner groin action right here. Right, so then you're going to lean towards the chair, place your hand on one block, or you can do 2 blocks flat, or if you're quite tall and you need the support, then you put the blocks tall like this, so 1 flat and 1 medium. So this is based on your height and your limberness and the preference in your left hip. And you don't get more prizes for going lower with your hand. So as we lean in this direction, the knee doesn't go past the toes. If you look down, your right knee does not have to go farther than your toes. Let's press the right arm against the right leg so it keeps your knee open. Root your tailbone down towards the floor and raise your left arm up. So this is a bit of a side bend. The side bend part is really in the upper torso. So your upper rib cage, shoulders, your head. Okay, so breathing in. Raise your left hand now up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to ask you to pump and stretch and pump and stretch. So I know you can't see my hands, so I was just showing you that way. Squeeze your fist, spread your fingers, squeeze the fist, spread the fingers, squeeze and stretch, squeeze and stretch, squeeze and stretch. Come past your ear one more time, breathe in, and then exhale, rise up. Lower your left arm. Thoughtfully step your right foot down, using the wall if you need to support your balance. And come to mountain pose and just notice, you might be crooked like my shirt is. Notice that maybe the left arm and the right leg are having their own experience. Let's put the chair on the other side for me. Stay as you are. You don't have to be moving your equipment around. And turn your feet slightly towards your chair. So your right foot is on this little angle here. And step your left foot up. And check that your hips are level, right? So when you step up, you don't have this hip coming up high because of the chair. And if that is the case, and you can't make the hips level, you might have a question in the pelvis. A couple things to check first would be, can you angle the heel out a little further? Does that help you to get your hips level? The second thing is, if your chair is taller than your hips can accommodate, so you end up like this with the hip going up, you could stand on one of your blocks to make a difference between the floor and the chair. Another thing is to have the hips come slightly around. It might be that your hip and thigh connection means that we have to make these slight changes so that your hips actually can level off here. Okay, let's glide to the left now and take your block for your hand. Press your left arm into your left leg to point your knee over the same line as the third toe. And then raise your right arm. And it is a side bend in the upper torso. Breathe in and out through the nose. Keeping your breath steady is a way to keep your mind steady. And also supports your body to do the housekeeping chores during yoga, not to be in the biochemistry of stress. Let's raise the right arm up, and we're going to pump and stretch, and pump and stretch, pump. So that's a squeeze, release, squeeze, release. A couple times more. Isn't it amazing that we can partner with all this intelligence in the body? Stretch past your ear, inhale, and exhale. Rise up. Use the wall if you need to for stepping down smoothly. Come to mountain pose. Listen for what's happening in your body. Okay, now let's come down to lying on the floor with your two blocks close enough to reach them. And you're going to lie down with your chair available to you. Hello. How are you doing? Yeah? Everything is good? You're having all the sleep that you need? Do not be alarmed. I'm right here. Okay, so we're going to lie down with the hips near to the chair and your blocks within reach. And I'd like you to lie down so that you can put the soles of your feet together at the edge of the chair. And then for anybody who needs them, the blocks are right there to keep your knees from going farther out than you would want them to. So for example, gravity, as we rest in this position for a couple of minutes, gravity might say, oh, hey, how about a little bit more of a release? And that may not be where your flexibility is feeling it this morning. So this is a pose in yoga we call Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. And it's helpful for the hip joints, but also for the lymph system and the inner groin. You can rest your hands on your lower belly if you're comfortable with that. And start encouraging the breath to be really restful in your pelvis. Just imagine the breath as a very kind ambassador, bringing vitality and comfort and ease. The way we set up this position, it's likely that your lumbar spine and your lower back are flat to the floor, so you can enjoy the comfort of that as well. You might consider the word allowing the process that's happening in the inner groin right now. It's welcoming your body intelligence to come in, all the systems getting restored. And then bring your knees towards your chest just enough to slide your shins over the chair. You might put your feet on the upper back of the chair to give it a little bit of a tip. That tip being helpful if it lets the knees be supported and maybe you don't have an opening through the back of the chair for the feet. Yeah. Take the arms out to the side if you like. This is our Shavasana pose now. And so it's a really, really important time to welcome your mind to get quiet and comfortable, inward and soothed. Sanavavatu Sanabhunaktu Savidyam Karavavai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Mavidvisha Vai. So we're going to rest, deeply rest. Invite yourself to have a deeply restored sense of your well-being. Allow that well-being to go more deeply in yet again. This is a very, very important part of your practice. Your brain and body are doing very important internal work to let the mind rest. So welcome the silence of the mind. The body and the brain take care of you. So welcome this inner sense of nourishment, a mental reprieve. We're going to rest in this pose about 2 more minutes. Allow it to be something your body is establishing a memory of right now. Now, with this awareness that your body has had a cleansing, start to slowly deepen your breathing. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. With the chair supporting the back of your knee, raise your right leg. It's possible that you can't straighten it entirely because of your hamstrings. Just raise it up. Lower it down. Raise the left. Lower it down. Now, if that is something that's comfortable for you to do, your legs can both go up. Go ahead and do that. And just consider that periodically throughout the day in the month of April, the cleansing month, the spring showers, spring Mayflowers, that you would put your legs up against the wall like this. It's called legs up the wall pose. And you get this drainage response for the lymph system. So if your hamstrings are comfortable here, they'll be comfortable with your legs up against the wall. That is a pose that was often recommended to nurses and stewardesses to help with varicose veins. I'm mentioning that because that's a reference to our lives here in this country in the 60s and 70s. Of course, it's still a relevant practice today, and it's for everyone, whether you're a nurse or a stewardess. And it's really for the lymph system and the circulation process, so we can all benefit from it. Now let's roll to the side and come back to sitting in meditation. For those of you who'd like to stay on the floor, you're welcome to do so. I'm now flanked by kittens, so I'll stay here. You also could return to your chair if you would prefer to do that. And as I said yesterday in our afternoon session, the ability to have leadership with the mind, to hold that one-pointed attention, the single flame of the candle, our ability to do that is very life empowering. So come to your meditation seat and rest your mind, your thinking mind, on the sensations of your hands in your lap. And as you're resting your mind on those sensations, for now, let everything else fade to the outside, as if you had a camera and you're focusing the lens on these sensations. The rest of the photograph becomes blurry for right now. Allow your mind to stay concentrated on the simple tactile sensations of your hands, each one touching the other, and your hands resting in your lap. Resting the mind on one thing and returning it to that one thing repeatedly is strengthening your ability to stay present and to return to presence, even in the face of distraction or adversity or temptation. And let the mind rest, nowhere to go, nothing else to do. Right now you're having mind training. Let's bring the hands up to the heart, please. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you all for practicing and sharing your practice with me and each other. Namaste.